What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about and address people's opinion on hell and those that fear that I may be going there. So this video is not really to anyone in particular or any group, but occasionally I get a message that tries to preach to me that um, if we don't change our ways, then hell is the place that we're going to. And I am not shocked or surprised because I used to believe this myself, that um, if you didn't follow Christianity, that hell was the only destination for us, that it's sin is fun for a season and eventually it leads you down a dark road that you can't get out of, and that the peace that you're feeling is only temporary, and that you will eventually fall into darkness and you will end up on the street corner miserable, drug addicted, and so and so and so, because it only leads to worse things. And I used to believe that. What brought this up is someone sent me a message again of warning me that what I believe is wrong, and that only X, Y, and Z lead you to the light. And what I am doing now will only lead me to destruction. And again, that's something I used to believe, and until I started thinking for myself a little harder about it. The reason why I used to believe that is because that's what I was told to believe. I was told that anything outside of the religion I was currently in was false, that anything that they believed was only temporary, that there was no true peace outside of what I believed. Because that's what I was told. I didn't know, and I know that this is where they're coming from. I didn't know because I believed what I was told, and I was told that if I tried something else, that was going to lead to hell. So I didn't experience it for myself, that the peace that other people had in other paths and religions was just as valid as what I had and believed. Because I was told that if you do that and you trickle and you tempt yourself in that, I guess you could say, then it's going to lead to destruction and ultimately lead to hell. So I believed it, and I thought, yeah, that piece is false, that what they believe is false, and but when you step out of that and you start thinking about how you look at other religions and millions and billions and trillions of people are finding peace, that they are very peaceful and happy. And then you see that, but your practice that you are strict in teaches you that it's just a false peace. And I can tell you, it's not false peace. It's not. And you also start realizing that hell itself is a concept of one or two religions on this planet. And not every religion believes in hell. But because the number one religion or the top religions of the world have hell as a concept and they believe in hell, so of course they're going to win and say they win the argument because they have the majority behind them. And it also sounds like fear. It's a fear tactic. It really is when you see it from the other side, that saying that if you do this, you're going to go to hell. That's like saying if it's like being a kid and you tell them that if you do this, I'm going to spank you and you're going to go to your room. And you don't do it because you don't want to get spanked. It's that kind of thing. So it really is a fear tactic when you look at it from the other side, and it keeps people from exploring and fact checking what they're saying and what they do truly believe, but taking people's word for what they believe, because they are going to get spanked if they go out and taste that piece of chocolate that they were told that if they eat that before dinner, then they're going to get spanked and go to their room. And even though having a little piece is not going to truly hurt you. Before my metaphors get too confusing and weird, But yeah, so yeah, the main message here is that we that there are other religions that do really truly find peace, that they find spiritual fulfillment that is not false, and that if certain religions actually did step out and look for themselves and seriously actually have an open mind about it, they would see that it is not a false peace, that there are people that are very peaceful, that they're not just putting on a peaceful facade and then going home and tearing their hair out, going, oh, tearing their hair out because they're just faking it for the people, and that at home they're really distressed and in hell at home and destruction and all that. That's not happening, my friends. That when people are really peaceful and you can see it on people outside of just one thing, then it's real. It's and like I said, if it was a false thing, it would have been discovered a long time ago. But people are finding real peace in what they believe. And when you start thinking for yourself, looking at the world, looking at people, not world, but the people, you'll see that there is peace that people are finding. And there's peace in where you are as well, no matter your religion. And I know that you want to share it, and you've been told that you have to because you're trying to save people. I get the intent behind it, but um, it puts you in a small box. It really does if you don't start actually noticing. And people aren't, like, again, people aren't faking it. They're not faking, and then they're going home to shoot up a needle or drugs, or saying that if they follow another religion that it's going to lead them down to ending up a heroin addict or whatever. I don't know. And I speak from experience because I came from a church background, very much so. Raised in it, ate and slept the word, as they say, and I became an adult, and I eventually saw things for what they are. No, I'm not blind now, but I actually did notice things, and I went and tried things legally, spiritually, and I found that there is true peace in other paths, and that people aren't just faking it, is the moral of the story. So people give me Bible quotes, and I know them all. I know them all, and again, it's just that people don't. The moral of the story is that people don't. They don't think for themselves sometimes, and they listen to what they're told, and they believe what they're told because they found peace in their path, so they know that it must be true, and everything else, or they're then told that everything else outside of the peace you know is false peace, and that's where the mistake was made. So again, let's be tolerant to people that if you have not done it yourself, and there are people that have gone out there that tried other religions, that got into worse things, but it had nothing to do with there was other spiritualities, that even people in a particular religion that has true peace, as I say, they have issues and problems, well, because that is being human. People have problems. So there are people in every single religion on this planet that claim to have the true peace, that have people in it, that they do that, and they have all kinds of problems as well, because it's part of being human. Anyway, guys, so there's true peace in everything, in every spiritual path, that every spiritual path has problems with people in it, and hell is a concept of a religion or two that make up the majority of the planet. So, of course, most people are going to believe the majority when it comes to that kind of thing. And if you're not into that majority spirituality, then, of course, you're not going to believe in hell or worry about it, and you will find spiritual peace in your path. So we need to have an open mind and let people live, and that's where we come from.